Hello, everybody. Abortionists are trying to hijack a bill which is going through Parliament at the moment, which is the Crime and Policing Bill. And one MP has introduced a motion to completely legalise abortion. Now, the situation in England and Wales at the moment is that, and Scotland as well, is that abortion is decriminalised. It's still illegal under the Offences Against the Person Act 1861. But Stella Creasy, who is one of the usual suspects, she regularly brings in motions and laws she lays to try to get abortion legalized, is doing this again. And she has laid an amendment to this crime and policing bill. That bill had its second reading in the House of Commons on the 10th of March. It's now going through committee stage, and it's likely to come back to the report stage and then the third reading and vote on this bill, including amendments, sometime in June or July before the summer recess. So this is the introduction to her amendment, Stella Creasy, new clause 17. And this is just half of what it says. To move the following clause, application of criminal law to England and Wales to abortion, the Secretary of State must ensure the recommendations in paragraphs 85 and 86 of the CEDAW report are implemented. So basically, the two main things here is that sections 58, 59, and 60 of the Offences Against the Person Act 1861 are repealed under the law of England and Wales. So what this would mean is that, these clauses of that bill give the right to life to unborn children. So unborn children are treated like adults in criminal law. So whatever you do to a person who's born, if you do it to someone who's unborn, it's the same thing in law. The Infant Life Preservation Act 1929 is repealed. Why would anyone want to repeal the Infant Life Preservation Act, and undermine the right to life of infants? Absolutely despicable. And number 4 there, no investigation may be carried out and no criminal proceedings may be brought or continued in respect of an offence under those sections of the Offences Against the Person Act 1861 or under the Infant Life Preservation Act 1929 under the law of England and Wales, whenever committed. So this means up to birth. Abortion up to birth under any circumstances. And then it goes on to talk about how the Abortion Act 1967 will be amended so that it removes reference to the Offences Against the Person Act 1861, because the Abortion Act only decriminalizes abortion in certain circumstances. It is not meant to completely legalize it, it only decriminalizes it. And when it was brought in 1967, the idea was that it would only be for a few hundred cases a year. It was sold to people on the basis that there are some women who are in situations of extreme suffering, 200 or 300 a year. We need to bring in abortion. This is not me. This is the people who were saying this at the time in the 1960s. They said that we need to bring in abortion. We need to decriminalize it for just a few cases every year so that it will be safe, legal, and rare. Well, they've legalized it essentially. It's not rare because there's not 200 or 300. There are now 200 to 300,000 abortions every year in the United Kingdom, 250,000 just in England and Wales in the last year. And if you add Scotland to that, they've now legalized it in Northern Ireland, which now has the most extreme abortion laws in Europe against the wishes of the people of Northern Ireland. That was imposed on them by Westminster. Then you're up to 260 to 270,000 abortions a year. And that's not including those that are induced at home with pills by post, and no one knows exactly how many pills by post abortions there are. That 270,000 figure is just people who go to an abortion killing centre in England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland now. So it's already decriminalized effectively, and doctors will sign off on it for any reason up to 24 weeks, but it's still technically illegal. And there was a case recently which was all over the news because the pro-abortionists were up in arms about this. And this was the case of Nicola Packer, a woman who took pills by post at home during the lockdown period. She said that she was 10 weeks pregnant, but as she was actually around 26 weeks pregnant, which would make abortion illegal. So she was arrested and she was charged under the Offences Against the Person Act, as she should be. But she was just found not guilty by a jury. But this case has been going on for 4.5 years. She was arrested. This happened in November 2020, but the conclusion of the case has only just happened just recently in May 2025. This is from Sky News website here on the 8th of May. And it's very interesting timing that this case has concluded just before this amendment to legalize abortion completely up to birth in any circumstance is now being laid by Stella Creasy on the back of this crime and policing bill that's going through Parliament. Well, look, the abortionists, they try this every Parliament. This was tried before last year in 2024, before the general election. Another Labour MP, Diana Johnson, laid an amendment to the then criminal justice bill. That fell because it ran out of time. But Diana Johnson is now a government minister. She's now the government minister for crime, policing and fire. So it doesn't bode well for unborn children at the moment, that the person who tried this in the last Parliament to expand abortion is now the minister, and then there's another Labour MP laying a bill here to try to get abortion up to birth for any circumstances. Look, this is absolutely abhorrent. There's a river of blood running in this country. Enoch Powell talked about that in terms of immigration, but there is a real river of blood flowing in this country with the deaths of 270,000 unborn children every year in the United Kingdom. The number of unborn children that should be killed is 0, not 270,000. By the way, this is just meaning 0. It's not a Freemasonic or sign, or it's some people, I know some people would say, oh, he did this means 666. No, it doesn't. It just means 0. Okay, I just need to that just come in my head, because some people, you know, so far down the rabbit hole, they will say this kind of things. But talking about abortion, there shouldn't be any abortion in this country. This should be a country with a culture of life, not a culture of death. And Labour MPs, supported by Lib Dem, Green, Reform MPs, half of the Reform MPs anyway, are trying to bring in euthanasia. I wonder what they will do with this amendment here to expand abortion up to birth in any circumstances, which is absolutely disgusting. And it shouldn't even cross anyone's mind, let alone be laid as an amendment to a bill in Parliament with the possibility that it might become law. Let's hope that this amendment is quashed and voted against in Parliament, because they will have a vote on all the separate amendments at the third reading before they vote on the bill as a whole, whether to pass it or not. So this bill will pass because it's a government bill, and Labour have a big majority. Perhaps even some of the Tory, Lib Dem, Reform, SNPs might vote for it. as well as a whole bill if they like it. There are other things in this bill which are very worrisome, such as the respect orders they want to bring in, which will be laws created for individual people rather than just a general law for all. Common law should apply to all. It shouldn't be laws for individual people. That's my personal view. Some people would argue that we need ASBOs. There were ASBOs. These are respect orders coming in. But the thing is, you can create. There's such a wide remit for respect orders that they could easily be abused by the powers that be, the councils and the police forces, that will be given powers to impose them on people. That's just another aside. That's just another thing in the crime and policing bill, which is not good for freedom, as well as this amendment by Stella Creasy, which would be absolutely abhorrent for unborn children and their situation, which is already terrible in the United Kingdom, and it would make it worse. And I think even most people that would agree that some abortion is necessary, I don't. I'm pro-life. I don't think there should be any abortion except in circumstances where the mother's life is in danger, because in that case you are acting to save a life rather than to kill a life. In all other circumstances, the only purpose of an abortion is to kill a baby, and I'm against that. But this would make that legal for not just 270,000 a year. Who knows how many extra people would be. The way they do it is not something I can describe on here, because this is going on to certain platforms that don't let you speak about certain things. But the way a surgical abortion is done, it's worse than the worst horror movie. It's absolutely horrendous. And this person here wants to make that legal. Absolutely. I don't know how anybody can think like that, unless there's something very, very wrong and very wicked about them. So we need to do what we normally do, is write to our MPs, make them aware of this amendment and what it means, and what its implications are, how horrific it is, and ask our MPs to vote against this amendment, so that it falls and it doesn't become law, and it doesn't hijack the crime and policing bill when it comes back to the report stage and then the third reading in the House of Commons next month in June 2025. Thank you for listening, everybody, and God bless you all.